Bonjour, Kinamaganine Ireland Indigenous, coming to you live from the halls of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. With today's teaching and learning video, the first read of Sing Me a Friend. We begin today's lesson with a focus on vocabulary, and specifically Greek and Latin roots. The root is the part of a word that contains the word's core meaning. Modern English words often have roots that come from other languages, such as Greek and Latin. Knowing what the Greek and Latin roots mean can give you a clue to the meanings of the words in which these roots appear. Read this sentence from Sing Me a Friend. I know you're a great singer, and I'm not half bad, so how about it? Should we audition for it next month? The Latin root aud means to hear. How does the context of the sentence and the meaning of the root help you understand what the word audition means? The words audition and audience both share the Latin root aud. Find these words in a dictionary. How do their definitions relate to the meaning of the root? If you don't happen to have a physical dictionary nearby, one such online dictionary is merriam-webster.com. You could type in m-w.com and it'll bring you here. So the first word I brought up was audition. The power or sense of hearing, the act of hearing, a trial performance to appraise an entertainer's merits. So we hear the word hear, well, we see the word hearing, the act of hearing. And if there's a trial performance, somebody is hearing what the performer is saying. So let's go ahead to audience. A large group of listeners, a reading, viewing, or listening public. The act or state of hearing. So you start seeing the word hear or hearing all over the place when it comes to the root aud. And this is true if you think the auditory nerves are in your ear. So you could opt to explore a little further by practicing with these three words that are within our text this week. Read the meaning of each root in the chart, then use the meanings to write a definition for each word. And you could go ahead and do this independently using the PDF or the packet. You already know that mortified has the root mort, which means death. Think mortician or even morgue. Inclination, clin, to tilt. And morphed, morph is form. If you would like to do that, I encourage it before you read the story versus after. But at the very least, be thinking of those terms as you go about reading this story. So now I'm going to scroll up to the first read skill this week. Let's summarize. It's a word you have surely heard throughout your academic year. When I say summarize the story, you probably have an idea of what that means. But let's see if that idea in your head matches what's on this paper. A summary is the retelling of a story's main events in your own words. When you summarize, you think about the big ideas of a story. First, you look at the details and the events in the story. Then you find the main details and write them in a few sentences. You can summarize a whole text, a page of a text, or just a paragraph. Summarizing is different than paraphrasing or retelling because you leave out the minor details. For example, the color of someone's coat would not be included in a summary unless the color played a role in the story. Think about the last movie you watched. If you were to tell a friend what the movie was about, would you summarize the movie by describing the characters and the most important events? And this is kind of normal for when we retell, like what happened at school today. You might tell what I said in the video or what I said in the classroom. But chances are the color of my shirt probably never comes up unless it was a different shirt that you had never seen before, or it was some off the wall color that you just can't believe I wore. This white t shirt today probably wouldn't catch your attention in a retelling. So let's try this skill in the following paragraph. Again, let's look at the discuss part first. Circle the details that you would include in a summary. Are there any details you would leave out? How would you summarize this paragraph? So as I go to do this, I'm going to grab my annotation tool to draw here, but I'm going to read it first and then come back through and let's find the key things. Harold and Sean were best friends. They loved to go running together. No matter what the weather was like, they would go for a run. As they ran, they talked about so many things, like their favorite video games and what they would do during the weekend. Running together was their favorite event of the day. So if we want to talk about this paragraph, what would we want to highlight? Is it important that Harold and Sean were best friends? While to Harold and Sean, that very well probably is important. But if I was telling this story, I probably wouldn't include that sentence. Okay, they love to go running. I think that's important in this paragraph, considering everything we are doing is describing something about them going running. They would go, no matter what the weather, they would go running. If you are someone who doesn't run regularly, you may not appreciate how much fun it is to run when it's raining or it's 22 degrees outside and windy. As they ran, they talked about so many things, like their favorite video game and what they would do during the weekend. Now, this sentence is a little trickier. I think it's important that you know as they ran, they talked about many important things or so many things. But if you were retelling the story, would you likely mention all of the things that they talk about? Probably not, unless it's your favorite video game mentioned specifically. And then I would say running together was their favorite event of the day. So let's see what this summary is. Well, this paragraph was about Harold and Sean who loved to go running. They would run no matter what the weather was like. And as they ran, they would talk about many things. And running together was their favorite event of the day. I think that summarizes a great deal of what you needed to know about this paragraph. This concludes the teaching and learning video. Please now return to the Google Classroom for your further directions. I'm a P.